the Pure JV traffic system. It's a way to get way more clients without wasting money on ad spend. There's way less risk, unlike paid traffic where you're dependent on algorithms and you have typically a single traffic source versus diversified traffic sources.
Focused on helping founders do one of three key things. They either want to exit their business and do what they really want to do. So I like to ask them, answer this question. What I really want to do is blank, or the reason I'm doing what I'm doing is so that I can. And I can guarantee... Hey, welcome to another episode of Capability Amplifier. This is Mike Koenigs. I'm here today with my good friend, Charles Bird. Charles.
How are you, Mike?
I'm great. I'm super excited because we're going to be doing a sales referral party. And this is by far the fastest way to get customers that I know of that requires no website, no CRM, no advertising, no budget, no anything other than two people connecting and sharing referrals. But there are some really specific strategies involved in making this work. So what I want to do right now is we're going to go through the process. I'll describe and explain what it is, but maybe for people who've never met Charles Bird before, why don't you describe what it is you do so they have a little bit of context?
Sure. I help businesses scale by creating joint venture partnerships. This is warm, endorsed joint venture traffic. And beyond the warm traffic, we look at the conversion mechanism to make sure it's converting 2 times better than ever before.
Very, very good. And I've known Charles for several years, and we do this regularly. So we've both gotten some fantastic customers because of doing these referral parties. So basically, the best way to set this up and frame it, and also know that right now, we are recording a podcast. We're actually going to exchange referrals, and I'm writing a book. All this is simultaneous because I've got Colin Campbell on here who's taking notes, and we're transcribing this in real time. So I'm a big believer in operating on a meta level. But basically, here's what happens. You schedule a meeting with someone who you believe you can add huge value to in terms of providing referrals. And then you schedule a timer for 1 hour. So this is my little timer, and I'd hit the start button. Each of us gets a half an hour. And the way it works is I'll say, so Charles, what is it? What kind of offer do you have available right now? And you'll describe your offer. And then who's your perfect office or audience for that product, service, and offer, blah, blah, blah. I like to say, who isn't? Who do you not want? Okay. And then we go through each of us. We start with our list. And I always recommend that you start with your mobile text connections, because those are the most recent and most intimate. If you're a WhatsApp user, you'd use WhatsApp. Then go through your email and sift through that and look for some of the people that you communicate with the most. And Google actually does a good job of giving you your most frequent connections. So you look through that. And then you can flip through your database. And the goal is to capture 4 to 15 people. And then what you do is record a video. And I like to do a generic video. And then I do some specialized ones, because sometimes it does require, it'll be like, hey, so-and-so, like, for example, my friend Ken Rakowski, who I'm going to reintroduce. You've talked to him, you've done stuff with him before, but I think you can provide more value to him and the Metal organization if I just tell Ken why he should have you back on. Okay, so that would be a really specific intro or a reintroduction. And the basic idea then is to create some fantastic results quickly. And what happens then, this is the most important thing of all. This is not a talking about it referral party. This is a do it in real time. So the last part of the half an hour is record the intro and start making text and email introductions in real time. And then the little 30 minutes goes up, and we flip sides. Now, what always happens when this is done correctly is the other person starts getting responses in almost real time. In my experience, your response level is typically 90%, even more. I don't have anyone ignore me, especially if I'm using mobile text. And adding a video is a really nice touch. People are like, God, I should do that. Right? That's the response they have.
That happened to me yesterday.
Yes. And then what you want to be equipped with is a click to schedule link. So I really, really recommend that you have any one of the services like Calendly, or I don't know, what are some of the other ones that you use?
Hub, Schedule Once, which is now Once Hub. Those, in Motion is another. And one other tip with those links, getting the link, number one. Number two, creating a simple URL. Mine is meet.charlesbird.com. And it just redirects.
That's a really good idea.
Forwards right over.
That is a really good idea. So what I have on my end is when you can create shortcuts on iOS, on Apple, for example. So mine is S1, and it generates a quick link that says, here's a quick link to schedule a meeting with me. If you don't see something on that schedule, respond, and Lori, my EA, will get back to you with some other options. Okay. It's just like S1, boop, and it's instantly sends. So that's something that I do. So with that, what do you say we tear into this and do it, knowing that we're going to modify the structure a little bit to both make this an entertaining podcast and demonstrate each of the steps where we're kind of going back and forth, where normally I just do one person for 30 minutes, the other person for 30 minutes.
Sounds great, man. Let's go.
Okay, great. So here's what we will begin with. You already described what it is you do. And why don't you talk a little bit about your offer? So if I were going to shorten the cycle of getting someone to the yes, what should I say about you? And do you have anything to show off in terms of like, I'm going to show a couple slides to demonstrate and show what I typically sell, what the results are. But do you want to describe that in a little more detail?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll share a slide right now. What this is the Pure JV traffic system. It's a way to get way more clients without wasting money on ad spend. There's way less risk, unlike paid traffic where you're dependent on algorithms and you have typically a single traffic source versus diversified traffic sources. And it's a comprehensive end-to-end system that not only focuses on warm endorsed traffic, which again converts 3 times better than cold, if not more. I was chatting with someone yesterday where for high ticket, the warm traffic converted 25 times better. And it's focused on the conversion mechanisms as well. So outcomes are a unique JV strategy that's, again, risk-free. Number 2, how to identify your most profitable JV partners and the system for building and connecting and managing those relationships. Number 3, which is my favorite part, how to get the deals closed, knowing exactly how to do it. I can be introduced to someone new, as can my clients, because I show them how, and they can have a JV booked to someone's entire audience in 20 minutes without them ever seeing any of their stuff. It's how that conversation's guided. Number 3, the done for you end-to-end system for operationalizing it so it's completely simplified for you. There's nothing to figure out. And number 5, how to turn each of those JVs into 2 or 3 more. So those are the outcomes from this offer. Of course, have a litany of great case studies. I'll mention one just because I love this guy. Jackson Milan, he's out of Australia. He has an 11K offer helping businesses focus on their core numbers and retain more personal wealth. Last March, like more than a year ago, he was doing 3-to-1 on Facebook ads and enjoying that. And then Facebook shut down his account. Rug pulled, like full lead source vanished. He was referred over to me thinking was already okay at JVs. I showed him how to JV the way I help clients do. He turned the volume knob up to 11. Not everyone needs to do this. He booked 70 joint ventures in 2 months. I checked in with him a couple of weeks ago, and he's at 6 million, 2 million in cash collected, 4 million in back-end revenue. And that's precisely who we serve. $1 million plus businesses looking to scale with joint ventures, and they want a plug and play system to do so.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Well, what I always think when I look at your offer is, man, I say this with all love and respect, which is I still think you're playing too small, because I think the JV approach could be adapted even more away from traffic, but bigger ticket relationships. And that's something that I want to continue to work on with you, because I think you could sell a much bigger ticket offer and provide value to much larger businesses outside of traditional info products.
Sure.
And so that I was just brainstorming that when I was looking at it, and I'm like, that's something that you and I want to work on with you, is going up another tier, because I think I just see some bigger opportunities out there as I'm going through my database. I was thinking about this last night, knowing we were going to do this. So I hope you can hear that.
Oh, game on.
I see an even bigger game for you. Okay.
Love it.
Okay, good. So I'm going to show you what I've got right now. And I'm going to break one of my own rules, but I don't believe in rules. I always say to people, do you know what rules are? Have I told you this before?
I don't think so.
Okay. So Charles, do you know what rules are?
What are rules, Mike?
They're for other people. Same with lines. I don't believe in lines or rules. They're for other people to stand around. I want to know where the back entry is. I want to walk in right into the green room and hang out with the star. So I'm always looking for shortcuts. And my offer is really focused on helping founders do one of three key things. They either want to exit their business and do what they really want to do. So I like to ask them, answer this question. What I really want to do is blank, or the reason I'm doing what I'm doing is so that I can. And I can guarantee you everyone has one of those. They're usually not living in their perfect version of their future focused vision of themselves, or at some point they realize they're thinking too small. They're selling to an audience that they've outgrown. So as I like to say, you've outgrown who you are, what you do, why you do it, who you do it for. And so everything that I do these days revolves around helping the founder escape from their existing business that they just don't want to do anymore and then do the next best thing. So it's a reinvention, or they want to sell a higher ticket product to a higher ticket audience, and they're struggling with the messaging. Or it is a founder that has exited and they're like, what should I do next? And, idle hands do the devil's work. And I've known a lot of founders who wind up, a couple of things happen. They sell their business and they realize their core purpose went away. And the more they sit around, the more hesitant they get and the less courageous they get. They get fearful and they get afraid of losing their money or making mistakes or looking like they don't know what they're doing. There's all kinds of little demons that show up. So my goal is I do these workshops. We call them Vision Day workshops. They're one-on-one experiences with founders. And the outcome, the result that we produce is the following. So I'll go over the who afterwards, but we call it the Business Multiplier Toolkit. And this is actually someone, Colin was on today and he just interviewed Michael Chu. They ended up doing over $1 million. So they did $880,000. So we spent 3 days together, created a new offer. He went out and presented the offer to, he said 80 to 90 people in the room, and they did $880,000 that day. Another 80 committed. They had 960,000. And from what I remember, it was somewhere in the neighborhood. Colin might have to signal me in chat as far as what the final number was. $1.2 million. He just did that. So, Basically what I love to tell people is I can sit down and help you reinvent or recreate and produce anywhere from $100,000 to $1 million very, very quickly and more. This is not just a part-time thing. Here's another one, a guy that you introduced me to, Koenigs. And I remember you told, I had forgotten about this until we were talking the other day, but you had said that we were together when this text came in and Kane had closed a $250,000 deal. Do you remember what that was?
Right beside you, and we were chatting about that, and you're like, check this out. I'm like,
oh my God.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. So that was his highest ticket deal he had ever closed. And then he had adopted the same model, which I call it the small container short tail model, and closed a $75,000 deal. That was pretty cool. But here's basically what we do inside 3 days. We create a category 1 brand. One of my favorite brands I ever created was the Lifestyle Investor for Justin Donald, which is, it's massive now. Rich.life with Tom Burns, Sell My Business with Joey Osborne, $1 billion exits with Corin Woodmass. But this setup is all financial related, but we also did Yield of Dreams with Charlie Epstein, who's a strategic coach member. But it's like, what is going to stand out and have some sizzle and be memorable? And then we craft an offer and a sales pitch. So that would mean it's a whole pitch and an offer and the price in a way that you could present it in front of an audience of one or an audience of many, or do a video, which is one of the things we do. So we take that and so we've got designers making this in real time while we're working. And then we craft credibility boosters. So it would be a podcast interview, more than likely, along with social content that can be repurposed and reused. All of this is shot in a professional environment. I'll show the studio in a moment. And then we also are creating articles, sometimes even creating the foundation of a book. So you've got videos, articles, collateral, and a book. And that also would mean lead generation and collateral materials. Sometimes we create derivative content that become handouts or worksheets, some sort of IP. And remember, we're doing this in real time. It blows most people away because we get done in 3 days what takes people 3 months, 18 months, 3 years, or never in many cases. We also figure out the size of a market, oftentimes researching databases. So we build a sales system that could be like an automated webinar. And then we figure out a simplified, cost-effective business model and delivery. I can usually look at any business and find a way to simplify it dramatically, but also increase the profitability dramatically. So those are the key takeaways. And Joey Osborne said something really good. And this is another way of looking at it, is most businesses, they can say, hey, we're the best in the world at what we do, but nobody knows about it. And I always say there's a reason for that, which is usually you got no sizzle, you talk too much and you teach too much and you sell too little. So what we really do is we add the sizzle that's missing. And that's what can increase the value of a business by 2 to 3x, but it also can increase the value of an offer by 3 to 10x. And Joey said something which is dollar for dollar, adding sizzle is the highest ROI investment you can make. All right, that took longer than I expected, but I also think it's important for everyone to understand that it is really important that your referral partner really, really understands what it is you have to offer. And going through a quick pitch will enable them to think, who do I know who could benefit from this right now? And before I show who our perfect target audience is, which is also a learning experience for everyone watching and listening, while I went through this, did you have some names pop up in your head that may not have if we hadn't done this?
Yeah, I mean, understanding who your ideal clients and avatars are, the names start rolling through my head. So you and I are doing this in the context of a referral party. I'll just remind folks listening, you can do this on damn near every call you're on. So totally. By understanding what they do, you can offer connections, and then they'll ask about what you do. And since you were proactive in asking, they likely will offer to do the same.
Yeah, exactly. And that is another thing is now you're going to look at people and say, how can I help this person? Who can I open my Rolodex to? It changes the quality and the type of relationships you have. And I've had people, this happened some time ago. It was about 5 years ago after I'd gone through, we'll call it my sixth substantial reinvention, business reinvention. And I had proposed doing a bunch of work for a potential client who ended up being a bad person eventually. I didn't know it at the time, but they were liars. But what wound up happening was I had proposed doing a bunch of work that was going to take a lot of effort, and they were scoffing at the rate I wanted to charge. And then I realized what they really wanted was access to my Rolodex. They wanted introductions. And I ended up doing a deal where I took them to an event I was already going to that I had exclusive access to. And it was an expensive event where there were no tickets available. So there was scarcity right away, and I got them in. And then all I did is spend 2 hours introducing them to a bunch of people who were already there, who I knew well, who I knew they could do some value together. And I got $25,000 for going to an event I was already going to and making 2 hours of introductions with no follow-up required. And I was like, oh, connections. All right. So it really opened up a lot of possibility. And that's really where you start thinking about organizing connections more effectively and connecting people. And I'm going to just say one quick thing about you, Charles, is you have an amazing way of tracking people and who they are with something you call the brain. And this is getting off on a slight tangent, but I'm going to just throw it in there anyway. Can you do a 1-minute commercial for the brain?
Sure. So I'm launching that right now. And as I do, I'll also point out that as you're having these conversations, like the people I introduced Mike to, not every one of those is going to become a client, but what are winning outcomes from those conversations? Winning outcomes include maybe they do become a client. Maybe they become a joint venture partner. Maybe they become a referral partner. Maybe they become a strategy partner where you're sitting down and going through each other's strategy, finding ways to tighten it up and improve it. So by understanding what the winning outcomes are from different conversations, you can guide the conversation toward the greatest win for everyone involved. And that frequently does involve landing them as a client or creating a joint venture with them. So I've got the brain up here. This was all impromptu. Okay, so what this tool is a dynamic mind map. Most mind maps, they're pretty handy, but after they get big, they get very unruly, where this one adapts around what you are looking at. So you can use this for any type of information. I use it for tracking relationships and who is an expert at what. So Mike, let's say the book we're producing right now on this podcast, you're like, I want to get this book out on other people's podcasts. So I'd come to this thought I have in here called People, Contacts, and Resources. And this is an array of different verticals: high ticket people, health and wellness, masterminds, events, SaaS, voice coaches, whatever the topic. So I'll come down here to podcasts because we want to get you some publicity. And here are some of my podcast friends and connections. So from there, I can look at, okay, who is in the right niche and market for the message of this book? And then I can start introing you. So as an example, my friend Kyle Gray, these are the intros he and I have exchanged over the last few years. And some of these have become his best friends. Some have become clients for him. He sent me an intro day before yesterday. So we're always looking out for each other. And then it's also a matter of keeping track of where you met people. So friends of mine from the Pathfinder Mastermind, here they are, and the related connections around each person. It's a never-ending web of what is the most valuable asset on planet Earth, and that is relationships. So,
like dude in Israel, for example, I see that on there. It's really funny. But I wanted you to show this off because one of the things that Charles has to offer, kind of an intrinsic value, is in addition to all the JV relationships, he has a web in his head of many, many, many connections. And he's like, if you want something, you talk to Charles. I know, for example, if I want to meet someone, I like to say, if you want to get the Pope on the phone, there's one guy you call. His name's Joe Polish. Okay. If you want to do some joint ventures or think about JV relationships, Charles Bird's your guy. But also you've got a system behind what you do. So with that, I'm going to show one more thing, which is super, super valuable. And it is going to be the who. So let me show you who my who is that I want to attract for this offer so that you can think about who those people are. And so first of all, they are B2B founders, owners, CEOs. I do not work with employees. They have to be the owner of the company with decision-making capabilities. I prefer B2B only because B2C takes a lot longer to get momentum for stuff that we do. And typically with B2Cs, what I'm going to be better at is helping position the business for a sale anyway, or to be acquired or to acquire other businesses rather than incrementally increase sales. And that simply comes down to, I don't find it fun to think about where there's an extra nickel that can be squoze here or there. And I don't like social media as a vehicle for generating leads. I just find it very uninteresting and distasteful. And also I prefer higher ticket offers. So I put 1 to 150 million in sales. It can go over that. I've worked with some $1 billion firms and billionaires. But I found that once they're much bigger than that, I'm not talking to an individual who can make a decision. They have to go to a board, which is boring to me and slow. So if I can't break the laws and cheat and get to the head of the line, I don't want to do it. Okay. So if I'm frustrated, you don't want to be around me. They've got to have proven success, transformations, testimonials, social proof, a history of being coachable and coached, which means they're most likely belongers of YPO, EO, Vistage, Strategic Coach, Genius Network, Abundance 360, some sort of group where they've already invested in themselves and seen massive results from being coached, right? They have a mindset of, I have a message, I want to be a trusted authority. They know that a strong personal brand boosts the value and pricing of their products and services. That means they most likely have written a book, they're speaking already, they're doing podcasts or are on them, and they might even be media trained. That's not critical. But again, it shows me that they're already converted in their thinking and realize the potential. But here's another one. They're willing to experiment, iterate, and test to find breakthroughs. In other words, if they're like, what's the guaranteed ROI of this? I know they're not the right person. It's because if you want guarantees, go to a bank. I ain't a bank. You got to be willing to test and experiment. And if that is, if you're just worried about pinching a nickel, and squeezing out another nickel, I ain't your guy. I like to say I'm a nuke in a forest and I clear all the trees and there might be bodies laying around, but I'm going to get it done and I'm going to get it done fast. Not a surgeon.
A hell of an analogy. I'm in a sales cycle right now with some folks that they have a list of all these major things like add 1 million and this and that, which is great. But it's also like, the investment compared to the benefit, it's like 30 times. It's like,
run away. Just charge for a day and say, I'll go through and answer these questions. I'll make some connections and intros. But the last thing you want to do is pass along a pain in the ass to people you care about. They'll never respond again. There's no win there. So I have a PITA factor. No a-holes, no PITAs. A PITA is a pain in the ass. No, not allowed ever. Okay, so so here's how I measure that one. All I ask, and I meditate on this, will this person, place, or thing ever create more than 5% aggravation in my life? If the answer is, I don't know, it's a hard no. And I know right away, this person sounds like a total aggravation, pain in the ass. Just dump it, walk away. Because if you allow that bad energy into your sphere, it'll suck up 80% of your energy thinking about them.
Yeah, I agree. I love having a top quality group of people around me, and everything feels better. You get love and support. You're able to give the same, and it's a super satisfying way to live.
All right, so let's move on. I'm going to show you one last thing. This is a huge distinction. It's made a massive difference. I got it from Justin Breen, who's also one of my favorite partners when I do referral parties. Kolbe Quick Start 8 through 10. If you're not familiar with what the Kolbe index is, look it up, Kolbe. I have found that high fact finders suck as customers. They're great support people. I do not want to do business with them because they ask too many questions. They want their assurances and they have to think about it. It is just like, it's just a horrible experience. It's no fun for me and I'm not going to do it. So Kolbe Quick Start 8 through 10s, not a 7. 7s I will sometimes work with. 6s, absolutely not. The higher the quick start, the more they're willing to experiment, test, say yes, and do something. And if there's hesitation and any whining, it's not allowed. So that's been a huge distinction. That's added tremendous joy to everything I've been doing. Love it. Right?
It's good to know your ideal client.
Yep. So now that we know that, let's go to the, at this point, what we do is we brainstorm. And I'm going to do a quick brainstorm for you and tell you who I've got and who I want to intro you to. And full disclosure, I was looking through my my messages in between things here and also my database. So I'm going to just tell you some people that I have for you. You can do the same, and then we'll do a couple quick recordings together.
Perfect.
So one guy, and we already had part of this conversation, you have spoken at Metal and know Ken Rutkowski, but I think Ken Rutkowski could be an awesome value add for you. And I'm going to reframe the conversation. I'm going to see if I can get you in for another speaking gig, which will give you more exposure. And part of the reason I thought this is because Ken introduced me to a lawyer, an attorney, who has, it's either a $9,000 or $11,000 information product. And I can tell that he's got a lot of history, a lot of success already. And if you think you can create some JV relationships to help him produce some quality traffic, I think you'll get a client right away. And you'll have Ken who will be bird dogging for you if he really understands with clarity what it is you're doing right now.
Love it.
Okay. Another one is a guy named Mark Tim. I don't know if you know that name, but he wrote a book with one of the original Shark Tank guys, Kevin Harrington, who's also a friend. And I'm actually talking to him today. So I'm going to make that intro as well. He's a very, very connected guy. At a minimum, I think he will be a source of referrals and connections. Okay.
Beautiful.
He's spending more of his time talking to boards right now. One question for you is, do you have connections, do you think, for doing B2C medical related products? That could either be hardware or supplements and stuff like that.
I do have some connections there. The sweet spot are coaches, consultants, course creators, experts like that. But we work with an array of verticals because the point's getting people in front of more of their ideal clients and getting a consistent flow of endorsed JV traffic. So there are some connections there, although the well's deeper on the info product side.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, it's worth having this convo. So I've got a couple medical related people, and I do think it would be worth an intro to Dave Asprey, who is an amazing connector. There's a lot of opportunities potentially there.
Perfect. I've had one conversation with him at Genius. We stepped out and were chatting and missed the group photo. But yeah, I'd love a reconnect there because I see ways to serve him with more endorsement connections for him, and then doing JVs at that level. Dave's got some cool stuff going on.
Great. Another guy who I love and I just reconnected with recently is a guy named Sachin Patel. He does, he works with integrative doctors, holistic docs. He's got info products, really a good soul. And he's always looking for new sources of traffic, relationships, JVs, etc.
Oh, I have a perfect connection for him to my client, Dr. Isaac Jones, who has, two high-level masterminds.
Hey, this is Mike Koenigs. Sorry to interrupt the podcast, but if you're an action taker and ready to transform and reinvent yourself and your business, go to connect2mike.com to learn more and book a conversation with me right now. All right, back to the episode. All right, another guy who just reached out to me 2 days ago is the great Roger Love. Roger Love is the guy who voice trained tons of actors, including Bradley Cooper for A Star Is Born. Can't remember the who's the actress in Legally Blonde, played Johnny Cash's wife.
Oh, I can see her face. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, anyway, Reese Witherspoon taught her to sing. So anyway, he's doing a launch very, very soon and reached out to me looking for some partners. So I said, and I always promote them. And part of the reason I do this is because I also, for one thing, I just love the guy and I love his products. And he's a great interview. So first of all, he wants to get on a bunch more podcasts that are substantive. And then finally, he would be, he just needs some connections and relationships to sell his product.
Yeah, I'd love to help him out. I've met with members of his team a few times. I'd love to chat with him too.
Okay, great. So he is just a class act. And then Jason Gignard from Mastermind Talks. Have you been to Mastermind Talks?
No, but I would love to meet Jason.
Okay, so I'm going to be at that. He gets 13,000 applications a year, and they only let in 100 people. So I'm going to get you to the head of the line because I think you'd add some value. And I'm going to be around a bunch of badasses next week.
That event's next week?
Yeah, one of them, but they do a couple a year, and they didn't have any during the lockdown. So he's going to be a great dude, and I'm going to talk about you directly with him while I'm there. So that one won't be a video now. I wouldn't get his attention anyway. Next guy named Rob Dube, who's partnered with Gino Wickman. They've got a new info product, and it's really helping entrepreneurs live their best lives. So they need some traffic. They want to do messaging with me, but right now they're focused on generating some sales with what they have. And to me, it's kind of I think their messaging could use an improvement, but I want to give first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect you with Rob and see if we can generate some sales for them, some relationships. And, if they see that they can produce some revenue with what they have, they're going to be a lot more likely to just pull the trigger.
Love it. These are great.
Yep. Lastly, have I introduced you to Christina Wise?
I sat next to her at the French Laundry, and she's lovely.
Party. Yeah. So she and her daughter have a business. It's Wise Money. They have a different one, but that's why I've been really pushing her to just call the business Wise Money. They work with founders, business owners to help them think about their money differently, bucketize it. And she's remarkable at helping business owners think properly about money and keep a lot more of it, save on taxes, invest really intelligently in a whole lot more. But she needs more access to more people. She's an amazing human being. I love her. She's like a best friend sister. So perfect
connection, because a client I have doing a very similar thing, I've made $6 million. So, and she's wonderful. So that reconnect, by the way, for those listening at home, even if you know someone, by having a third trusted party reintroduce you, it gives you the context and reason to have a conversation.
Very, very good. Yes. And what I've found is if you can create a situation, and this is a whole different podcast for another time, but I used to create triple connection situations. So if someone hears about you and your product and your offer from 3 trusted sources within a week, they are going to want to do business with you. So what you do is you create a circumstance where you find out who's connected to them and have it come all at once. So I've got a crazy ass story. I'm not going to get into the details now, but it was how we helped someone write a book purely to get in front of influencers around a specific CEO. So 10 people got this book, or maybe it was a dozen. 7 told this guy within hours of each other about this book and how it appeared to have, it was as if it was written about him and for him all at once. And the guy ended up doing a multi-million-dollar deal as a result of that, but also getting 27 other clients just like this because it was written so specifically, never had to be published. So it just goes to show that an endorsed referral from multiple trusted sources in a short period of time make all the difference in the world. So, okay.
Beautiful.
I have a couple other ones, but why don't you go now and maybe just rattle off some names or connections? So I've got some that I'm going to introduce you to that I can't mention the name publicly just cause. But
sure.
Let's tell me what you got.
Okay. So I added one just while we were talking when you went over who your ideal clients are. Do you know Matthew McGregor?
Nope.
All right. So he is a young entrepreneur. When I met him, he was 19. His list was 3,000 people. I taught him how to JV, which he'd been studying already. His sole traffic source has been JVs. His list is now 230,000 people. He helps people build mobile apps. Now, because of what you said, he's looking to exit that company. And the thing he's working on right now is building a dating app. So when we talk about exits and reinvention and branding and positioning for that new venture, you're the man.
Yeah, that sounds super interesting. That I can accelerate quickly. I've got some awesome resources for business sales also, and I can make that happen super fast.
Perfect. And we're good friends. And anyone I send his way, I sent him an intro yesterday to another this close to being a client they're deciding by today. All right. Next up is Alaric Heck. He is a client of mine that helps people scale with YouTube ads.
Yeah. I met him, but he's on my he's on my list, and I would love to have a relationship with someone like that. If he can pull that off, is it a full service agency or do they do, is it training mostly?
It's mostly training, but they have offers ranging from 14K to 75K. It's a very timely offer. He's damn good at what he does. And on my morning run, I messaged him for you and told him all about you and how you're super connected, how you can explore what each other does and potentially become clients of each other and or referral partners. Yeah. All right. Great. Next up, Stefan Spencer, a member of Genius.
I've known him a long time, and I've been on his and his girlfriend's podcast. But sometimes a reminder might be useful. What specifically popped up for you? What were you thinking about?
Okay, so Stefan is one of the world's foremost SEO experts who I send referrals regularly, and I've known him for 7 years. And in fact, I've even consulted him, and he's certainly consulted me. He's never afraid to shoot holes in my website.
Of course.
In any case, on my morning run, I messaged him and I was like, I'm sure you know Mike. I'm sure you've interacted with Mike, but I think you should sit down and have a deeper conversation because same thing. You'd be a wonderful referral partner for him. He could potentially serve you from an SEO perspective, and you could elevate his brand dramatically because of what you do and get him into even higher ticket offers because of what you do.
I think I could do that. Yep.
Next up is Jesse and Charlotte Corin. They're out of Santa Cruz. I'll be driving my family down to have dinner and hang out with them and their kids on Sunday. They've been in the coaching space for at least 15 years, maybe 20. And they also ran a live event for the top JV people for many, many years. So they have a very strong network. We hang out at people like Lee Richter's house and other places.
Yep.
So I Voxered Jesse this morning, offering that connection to you. And again, for those listening, I want to touch on relationship levels. There's people like Mike I can send an intro to and not even check because I know I'm sending him the right person and I know he'll be thrilled to receive it. Now, there's other people, there may be, you may not have that kind of open relationship with where you can simply ping them and say, I've got this great connection for you. Would you like it?
Right.
Because in that way, it's, they'll be happy to receive it. Because they could say, I'm on my honeymoon. Don't send that right now. Send that in 3 weeks or I'll get back to you. So you want to be conscious of that, but where you feel tight enough with someone, fire those off. All right. So next up is Stefan Georgi. He just spoke at Flight Club. He's a world-renowned copywriter, brilliant dude. And he could be a lovely connection for you as well because he has a community of copywriters. He's damn good at it. But elevating the brand and offer and pricing can never hurt. It can only help.
Yeah. And I talked to him briefly, but it'd be good if you kind of framed the conversation. I like that. That's a good idea.
Cool. So I have yet to ping him, but that I will certainly do. And we brought this up in a previous conversation. Would it be useful for me to ping Sean Vosler or you? Yeah.
And it's been a while since I had a conversation with him. And I think what we should do is when you're down in San Diego next, let's plan a long lunch. Because I think we could scheme together, come up with a bunch of cool stuff, probably create referrals out of that, but have a deep conversation. But yeah, why don't you just say, hey, just you came up today, Sean. I'll ping him kind of simultaneously. And I was thinking about him just the other day anyway. And I think, he's got a great brain, a lot's in motion, and he's a guy that you'd kind of have to stay in front of. So he's very much a proximity kind of guy.
I 100% agree. When we're in person at TNC or other events, I have his full attention. And when we are not in front of each other, I have way less of his attention.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So some other, I think you and I have a very deep bench of potential connections, but curious, do you know, Jackson, I brought him up. He's my star client who I've made $6 million. I think he'd be lovely. So I will ping him about that. He loves my intros. What you and I are doing right now, he and I do all the time. We ping each other. We sync up, who knows, every 4 months. We hit each other up on Voxer every couple of weeks, and we're constantly sending each other amazing connections. So again, this is not like a one-off thing. This should become a way of being. This is a way of existing.
Yeah. What I was thinking about today, I was telling Colin, who's in the background taking notes right now for the book, that I could get rid of all of my other lead generation strategies, pretty much all my social media, and just do this and be fat and happy. And what I think is important, and we're going to demonstrate this in a second, you can get rid of days or years of getting to know each other, chitty chat, and just cut to the chase to someone and say, here's why I want you to meet so-and-so. Okay. And in fact, I want to demonstrate that right now. So I'm going to make the video with you, and I'm going to make one for Ken Rakowski right now, because that's one that's on my mind. It'd be really easy. And then secondly, I'm going to do the more generic one. And for kids at home, if you're watching this right now, we're using Zoom to record this, which I don't like using Zoom in general. It's clunky for this kind of thing. And you've got another tool that you'll demonstrate in a moment. But basically, if you have the paid version of Zoom, you can do a live on YouTube capability, which means you can record a video right from it and go straight to a video that you don't have to wait for or render. It just goes boop and it's done, and you get a link. So I'm going to basically call this, and I'm just going to show what happens when you say record to YouTube. I'm going to share my screen, that you get this, and you have to connect your account. And I'd say Ken Rakowski re-meet Charles Bird. Okay, so I like to have a good thing, and I always make it obviously unlisted. And as soon as I hit go live, what's going to happen is it's going to record to YouTube, and we're going to stop. So basically the structure is going to be, hey, Ken, you already know Charles Bird. Say hi, Charles, blah, blah, blah. I'm reconnecting you right now for two key reasons. And here's what they are. Okay, so this would be the hyper-personalized one. And I will literally copy the link, paste it into text, and reintroduce the two of you and say, Ken, watch this right now. I got your next star for the next metal morning.
Love it. And you could, if you like, reference that Joe Polish introduced me to him the first time, like probably 2 years ago or whatever, whenever it was.
Yeah, I'll just have you do it. That because I'll pass control over right away. And that way, this is more of a conversation than a than a solo act. And I do that because I want this to feel like an engaged conversation, not like,
Yeah. This was impromptu and timely, and we're just moving on it.
Yep, exactly. So what I'm going to do then is I'll just start it. So I'm going to hit go live, and you're going to see as soon as it'll just say live at the top of Zoom, and we'll begin.
All right.
All right, here we are. We're live. Ken, I want to reintroduce you to Charles Bird. Charles, you already know Ken.
How you doing, Ken?
All right. So you guys met through Joe Polish. And here's the reason why I wanted to connect you guys again. Charles and I meet and do these things we call them referral parties on a regular basis. He's exceptionally well connected, and he's just got a massive database, especially of JV connections. And a couple of days ago, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but you introduced me to an attorney that has an info product that he wants to sell. Charles is the guy who can line him up with some joint venture traffic and partners to help sell that. I think he's going to be the fastest path to getting there. He was the guy who's going to connect with anyway. The second one is you and Will. Now, Will has Will at work and is looking for more traffic and more deals. I think Charles would be the guy to connect with Will as well. So I'm making this kind of for both of you. And I also think you should have Charles back on for a Metal International meeting where he can talk about either JVs or this thing called the brain. It's how he stores gobs of information. It's a super fascinating presentation. I think you'll just like it. Is there anything else that you want to add before we finish this off, Charles?
Oh, just that I love the metal community, and I'd love to serve your folks and get to know you even better. And so thanks, Mike, for the re-intro.
Okay, very cool. All right, Ken, I'll follow up this weekend. I love you, brother. Bye-bye. Boom, just like that. And I copied the link, and it's all set to go. So, and then I just paste that link right next to Ken's name and my connections for Charles. And now I'm going to do a generic one, and then I'll let you do the same. Cool?
Perfect. I'm queued up to do that.
All right, fantastic. So this one, again, I'm going to make Basically, I'm going to do the quick intro. I'm going to say who you are, what you're awesome at, why I'm doing the connection. I'll say, hey, Charles, why don't you just share a little bit more, fill in any gaps. That way, you can, yeah. So, yeah, cool. All right. So now I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to do live on YouTube and connect my account. And then I'm going to end up calling this, it's going to be generic, but I'm going to call it Meet Charles Bird. Meet Charles Bird, Mike Koenigs. And I'm going to hit the privacy. I'm going to hit go live and you'll see it rocking and rolling in just a moment. So I always like to time these so they're kind of just so. All right. Everything's in the background here. I always have some bullets, so I'm doing everything like you and I are right now inside of Google Docs. So here we are. It's going to say something in just a moment. There we are. We are live on YouTube. Okay, so I want to introduce you to my friend, Charles Bird. He is one of the most connected JV experts I know. He's been a great connection for strategy and referrals for me personally, but everyone I've ever introduced him to. And one of the things that he's really good at doing is helping you look at all your lead sources with endorsed joint ventures. Although he thinks a lot bigger than that, and he's added millions to some of my clients, and I know he's going to be able to do the same for you. So I think you just got to connect with him because you're really going to like him. You'll be values compatible and find other ways to work together. So Charles, why don't you say a few things?
Yes, Mike, thanks so much. Yeah, I'd love to connect, learn more about what you're up to and who you serve, and explore ways you can leverage endorsed joint venture traffic to scale that up. It basically diversifies your lead sources in case you're dependent on something like Facebook ads. I've had many clients whose accounts have been shut down or they're not able to scale past a certain point. So we help them diversify. It's a plug and play system to get up and going with your JV strategy, identifying ideal JV partners, and the whole system for snapping it in and getting it in production in less than 5 weeks. So if you'd like to chat about that, I'd love to chat with you. You can book, number one, feel free to share your booking link with me, or you can use mine, which is meet.charlesbird.com.
And I'll put that in the description copy in this video as well. All right. So let me know as soon as you've connected. Tell me what's happened. And everyone always sends me the same message, which is, Charles is awesome. Thank you for the intro. But I'd love to hear what you guys end up doing together. Okay. Talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.
See ya.
Boom. Just like that. That was it. So, and now... Yep. So why don't you do the same thing? Yeah, do that. And then we're just going to basically go back and forth and, wrap this up because it's pretty darn simple.
Perfect. I'm going to share my screen and I want to share just my Zoom window. So typically I do video intros many times a day. Typically it's just me on camera, but here, hey, Mike and Jackson, I'd love to connect you both. Mike Koenigs is a good friend of mine I've known for several years. He is an expert at building brands, creating high-ticket offers. Several clients I've sent him have done extraordinarily well from his work and advice. And he's been in the game a while. He's consulted people like Tony Robbins. He's in the Genius Network, Flight Club. He's everywhere you want to be. In any case, I'd love to introduce you to Jackson Milan, great friend of mine, client who has worked with me. He helps businesses scale by focusing on their core numbers and retaining more personal wealth. So they're just better at managing money. He runs a group program. He's a JV monster. He's done $2 million in revenue just from joint ventures and cash collected, $4 million in back end.
Awesome.
Super connected. He and I share referrals all the time. Love for you guys to have a conversation.
All right. I'll make it super easy. I'll make sure you get a link. Jackson, nice to meet you. And thank you, Charles. And well, the next step's yours. So I'll definitely get you a booking link and can't wait to go deep with you. Bye-bye.
See ya. Cool. So that is wrapped.
You want to do a generic one then, and then we can wrap this up too?
Yeah, sounds good. So what I'm also doing is naming this video, and then I will be copying an animated GIF that goes in emails.
Yes.
And in fact, I know he doesn't read emails, so I'll just be sending him in Voxer. But for most people, they'd get that in their email. You can send it as a text. You can send it in Messenger, and it's got the image. And for platforms that support it, like email, there's an animated GIF. So I always swing the mic in the shot.
Yeah.
Now, it just keeps looping that. And you're like, what's he saying? There's a mic coming up.
That's great. That's a great little visual. I love that. I'm actually going to start moving over, and I'm going to use the platform too. This is easy when I'm doing, cause I don't like homework. So that's why I do everything in real time.
I love it. Okay. So I'll do a generic one. And so are you still seeing my screen?
Yep. Oh, I don't see your screen.
Okay, I'm sharing the. Okay, I'm going to do this one more time.
That's all right, because then our video will be too small if you're sharing the screen, unless you've got some other way of doing it. But you do whatever you need to do is cool.
Sure. Okay, so I am starting recording. I'm again going to choose. I'm just verbalizing this since you guys can't see it. I'm for what we're doing with the referral party, I'm sharing the Zoom window. So Mike and I are both on camera. Typically, I would only be on camera when I'm doing these solo. All right.
Okay.
And it's giving me a count in. Hey, Charles, checking in with you. How are you doing? I'd love to connect you to my great friend, Mike Koenigs. Mike is a marketing legend. He's consulted people like Tony Robbins. He's in many groups with me, such as Genius Network and Flight Club. And I send him, we both send each other connections all the time. What he's done for the people I've sent his way, number one, he's super connected. He's phenomenal at strategy. He helps with branding and really elevating the persona of a company, along with helping them create far higher ticket offers, and in many cases, sell them before they're even done making the thing. It's pretty remarkable. And again, I've seen him do this several times with people I've personally referred over. Mike, if you'd like to say hi and say a few words.
Hey, thanks, Charles. Okay, so first of all, it's nice to meet you. Here's the way I do what I do in the short version. I'm a big believer in get it done and make it go right now. So usually what I do is I spend 3 days with the founder like you. You spend time. I've got a great place on the beach in La Jolla, California. So you come stay at my condo, and we'll either reinvent or create a brand and offer, and it could be a sales deck presentation, and then spend some time in my studio, which means you'll be in the other seat next to me, sitting there. I'm interviewing you, and we actually create content, which can be articles, a pitch, sales materials. But I've had people walk away and literally make $1 million that same month with their clients. In fact, I just got the exact numbers. It's $1.2 million. And I say that not to brag, because it's not always about the money. Sometimes it's about elevating you. But either way, I'd love to connect and chat with you and see if I can help you out. And as usual, thanks a ton, Charles.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. So feel free to share your booking link with Mike, or Mike will send his your way, and I will leave it to you two to connect. Happy connecting.
All right.
There we go.
Good. Was that too much? Was that okay?
I think that was great, but especially because since it was generic, I didn't say a damn thing about them.
Yeah, I always do that. Yep. Everyone's a they. Yeah. But
so considering that, I feel like the time was used well. Most any intros I'm sending end up being a minute and 15 seconds. I'm referring to like a single person. So you get a rhythm for it. Like Mike meet Jackson, Jackson meet Mike. This is what Mike does. This is what Jackson does. And then provide the context like Mike did in the intro to Ken. Provide the context of ways you may be able to play together, because then you're not getting on a call with someone trying to figure out why the hell you're talking to them.
Right on. Okay, well, let's do this. I actually literally have a commitment right now. So we're going to wrap this up, but here's what's going to happen for all you kids at home. Normally I do this all in real time and I text the video link with a short intro copy. And I prefer SMS personally, but then for everyone I know who's either an Android user, yuck, or a more of a PC type person, I'm going to send emails, or if they have someone who schedules for them. And I always know that. But what I've been doing lately, it's been getting great results, is I text it and I email it. And that way, whatever their preferred form is, the response level is phenomenal. And typically when I'm doing this live and in real time with someone who's never done it before, they are getting responses literally in moments. So by the time we're working on the second persons, they're like, holy crap, man, you sent that out to 9 people. I've already got 4 bookings. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They're such big believers. So grateful. And the other thing that we're doing, so when you get this in the description copy, either in the podcast description copy or YouTube, is a link to pre-written copy and the transcript of this. Soon the book, which you'll be able to get as well. So just to wrap this up, is there anything else that you want to add or say? Because I'm going to start dropping these for you today, Charles, and I'm going to see if I can get you lined up with Kenny, maybe even this weekend.
For one, thank you. It's been a pleasure talking about this with your folks, along with, of course, sharing the intros. And for those of you thinking about, should I actually do this? The answer is hell yeah, you should. Think if every one of your clients brought you 1.1 new clients, every one of your peers brought you new clients. This is what happens for Mike and I every day. I've had weeks where I get 15 referrals. What does that do to your business? So put a few minutes in, get it going. You certainly won't regret it.
Totally. All right. So that's it for me. I think I couldn't agree more. And part of the reason I'm doing this is to inspire myself to do more of them. And just since yesterday, one of the guy, if I haven't, do you know John Rulin, the giftology guy?
I do not.
Man, I'm going to pop him on. He is a freaking rock star, and you're going to have a lot in common. So I'm putting him on my list as well. And look up giftology. And I did an interview with him that's worth watching, listening to in this podcast as well. So Charles, you're awesome. Thank you for your time. This has been a great episode, very real and very helpful to me. So I know we're going to be chatting in the next couple days.
Awesome, Mike. Thanks so much. And we'll catch up soon.
Okay. See you, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. This is Capability Amplifier. Bye-bye.